It's my pleasure now to make an introduction, and I apologize for reading through it, but I don't want to cut anyone short in terms of the background. But Ilse Metchek, who's the president of the California Fashion Association, which is really an organization that she created 25 years ago. So it specifically provides leaders in Southern California, the manufacturing, textile community, fashion industry, the opportunity to share information, networking, like we talked about earlier, and the business of conducting business in the current global economy. Again, a good follow-on to the last conversation. In 2016, Ilse was awarded the Stanley T. Olfson plaque, is that correct? From the Los Angeles Chamber of Commerce for the advancement of international trade. And in 2017 and last year as well, she was included in the listing of the 500 most influential people in Los Angeles by the Los Angeles Business Journal. Prior to the formation of the CFA, Ilse was executive director of the California Market Center, and before that, she was president of White Stag, a division of Warnaco Industries. So it's my pleasure to introduce Ilse. You will enjoy the pace of the presentation as well as all the excellent content that she has behind it.
It's a delight to be here for you. We've worked with CGS for quite a while, and it was a delight to listen to Bernard because we dovetail on that. Consumer spending is up. If any of you have heard of the lipstick index, we used that phrase in 2010 and 2009 when everything was bleak and no one could buy anything. The sale of lipstick went up. There's something about consumers that need to buy something. And when things are bad, they buy the smallest thing. A guy might have bought a new pair of sneakers. Women bought lipsticks. Well, we are way beyond the lipstick index now. Just so that you know, Gucci last year made $63 billion on an increase of 45%. That is beyond lipstick. And what I am going to define, okay, is what the consumer is looking for, based on my travels, based on the United States preferences. And the reason I say the United States, we are only 5% of the world's population. We are 46% of the world's consumers. Scary, but we never wear anything twice in the course of a week. And we're the only country that does that. So that creates this need. I mean, fortunately, the guys are out of their sweatshirts and back to work. And the young ladies hopefully will be out of their torn jeans soon, but we never know. What we're looking at now is what is driving the consumer, who is the consumer, and how are they spending their money. And not just on apparel, but on all consumer products. And what we're looking at for success, that circle: entertainment, experience, data analytics, and product. And notice that product is last. But what does it mean when we talk about the new mantra? When I was growing up in this business, which is probably long before a lot of you grew up in this business, the right product in the right place at the right time was mantra. It is in cement in Selfridges in London. And Mr. Selfridge came from Macy's, in case any of you want a little bit of history. The new mantra is the right offer for the right consumer in the right channel with the right voice. The word product is not in there. It is unfortunate in many circumstances, but nevertheless, it is the reality. We are the only country in the world that has these points of entry. Not a distributor, points of entry, where a brand can be successful at any level of these points and infect all the other points. And monetizing those points of entry, you get this very strange color graph. The big red piece of the pie are the specialty stores that set the fashion trends for the country. The major stores can't afford a mistake, although they make them all the time. But the major stores look at what the specialty stores are selling, and that's specialty in each category: junior, children's, men's, all of these categories. They are the ones who take the chances. They're not the chains. The pink pie, is it the same color? Yeah, the pink pie are the specialty chains, like Victoria's Secret and Forever 21. That's a specialty chain. The red pie are the independents. By the way, it's defined as 7 stores in a state, within one state. Like in California, M. Frederick would be a specialty store, even though they have 9 stores, but they're only in California. And going further with a little bit of color is these are the total apparel parts of the pie. The menswear pie has doubled in the past 10 years. Used to be that women bought 90% of menswear. Mamas did it, and wives did it. Girlfriends, not so much, but mothers and wives bought menswear. And that's why Brooks Brothers did a women's wear department, because the women were in there shopping for the men. That's very, very different now. I have 6 grandsons, and I cannot even buy them a T-shirt. They want to buy their own. And the gorilla in the room is e-commerce. Now, what is interesting, it is estimated that e-commerce will be $100 billion by the end of this year. But that includes e-commerce for Nordstrom's, e-commerce for Macy's, e-commerce for Walmart. It's not standalone e-commerce, because when you look at, I'm going to put something up there first, 70% of all consumer product sales will be influenced by the internet. Not bought on the internet, influenced by the internet. In the main, we are looking at it, we are researching it, and these are the numbers. I hope you can see them. The orange line up are the warehouse clubs and the superstores, the Costco's, the Walmarts. This is in apparel retailing. The blue line are the department stores. There is no coming back in the foreseeable future for apparel, accessories, apparel in all categories in the major department stores, just based on their antiquated technology. And we're in the room of technology. The way they buy and how they plan, it will be very difficult for them to capture the new consumer. But the fact is, and these are, the source is an NPD, just in February, only 6% of US consumers buy everything on the internet. They still spend 90% of their purchases at retail, whether it's Best Buy, or it's Forever 21, or it's Gucci. 90% is still purchased at the store. But we are in an area of disruption, uncertainty, a top to bottom transformation. That old mantra of making a line, showing it to a buyer, the buyer putting it on the floor, hoping the consumer will come in. That is old news and does not work anymore without the compelling data that you need right now. We have declining traditional retailing, i.e., the closing of stores. Amazon is transforming the way we pay and what we think we need right away. And we have a structureless fashion calendar. I'm wearing a fall jacket, and some of you are in white, and that's okay. There is no structure to our fashion calendar. If you go to a trade show, you will be seeing at once something for 2 weeks from now, 3 months, and next year at the same trade show for the same product. This is the reality. These are the numbers that I pulled to show you that where we are right now. As of March of this year, we had more closings than, well, we had almost as many closings as all of 2008, and our openings are at half. Now, what is our opening? And that's going to be the issue for the future. We have a very disruptive spirit. And all of you who are working for people in my business, in the apparel business, if there isn't a change happening, force it. Nothing is the same, nothing. This is just my most recent survey, and this is your most recent telling of change. Please look at the red line on the very top, secondhand, the real. All of these stores that we called junk are now called secondhand. And in some cases, they are more expensive than the garment or the handbag was when it was first purchased, because the value of brands has gone up. But please note much less. That's the light gray. And at the bottom, department stores, expected change in retail spending patterns. 22% of female internet users will be shopping at department stores much less. Now, what does that do for the impulse buy, for that junk jewelry that's on the counter, for that tie that she forgot to buy her husband? All those impulse buys that were in a department store are gone. That's a whole nother category for online shopping. But the secondhand issue is coming up constantly. I have seen it in formal events, and I go to a lot of them. It has not left the United States yet. It's still frowned upon anywhere else in the world. But it is a United States syndrome. So what are the other issues that are new? Now we have cult followings of internet brands. They don't make anything. They don't design anything. And they have no experience in our business. But these websites have developed followings where I see people checking them every day. What's on the website? Whether the garments are over $200 or they're $30. Fashion Nova is over $200 million in 7 years. It is junk. It was born of the Kardashians, but nevertheless, it has a cult following that has nothing to do with the brand manufacturer that makes the product. And Farfetch is another one, $2,000 for brands that you never heard of. There are also cult followings that have nothing to do with price. Here's jeans, whether they are $300, $158, or $290. I happen to know it's the same pair of jeans from the same manufacturer. It depends on what internet vehicle is being used. These internets are on social media in and of themselves. It's not just the brand that's on social media. The internet position itself has its own following. And then we have Amazon. I picked 4 garments that are the same price as they are on those websites. In other words, the Lululemon jacket, that's the same price as Lululemon. But I guarantee you that in 30 days, it will be cheaper on Amazon. Cheaper than it is on Lululemon. That's one of your problems. They are multi-branded, and of course, they have now changed their policy. You, the brand, own the problem. And the problem is a 38% return. The merchandise, 1 out of 3 boxes goes back. But now it's going back to the manufacturer. It's not going back to Amazon distribution warehouse. They have relieved themselves of that reverse liability. And coming out is very interesting. I was in Seattle. I happened to be visiting my daughter, and they invited me up to their design room. I hope no one's here from Seattle, but those are the worst dressed people in the whole world. And they are designing and doing mood boards for these brands. But what will happen, what is going to happen when they finally come out and market these brands, is if you are looking for a red sweatshirt or a black dress or a new tie or a man's hoodie, up will pop an Amazon brand, and it won't say Amazon. It will say, have you considered this? It's available. It's cheaper. That's going to be the power of Amazon. They are coming out with these brands, and they are going to be pop-ups all over the web when you're searching and researching for merchandise. So what are consumer expectations? And this was the Rhode Island School of Behavioral Studies, so I'm not making this up, okay? Buying local, whether it's New York, and the New York Garment District has a very, very big push for make it in New York, buy it here. They're putting a lot of money on that. We certainly have make it in LA. The whole issue of sustainable, organic, environmental, no one can define it. There's no definition yet of what anything is, but everybody wants to say they are that. And then is still the off-price, the bargain, the discount. As Bernard said, the number one retailers in the United States, number one, TJ Maxx, Ross stores, number 1 and number 2, in terms of profitability and growth, and not by virtue of their internet. They have very little on the web. So those are bargain, those are discount, and by the way, they are buying like crazy. They are not just buying junk anymore. It's not the extras or the mistakes. They have buying power. However, and I say this however in terms of buying local and buying made in USA, and this is a Harris poll, 15%. That's all the consumer will go. A $100 pair of jeans, maybe they will spend $115 if it's made in USA. Beyond that, It's a price thing, and particularly the men. We had an object lesson when Ben & Jerry's tried no sweat T-shirts, and they were going to do factories that were paying maximum wages, health care, everything that was supporting their political position, which is very progressive. It lasted 6 months because the college, their target were the college buyers. The buyers in premium, it's called premium buyers, UCLA, NYU. And the kids, if it went too high, they went right to Walmart. So, in the Leo, the next thing is buying local. Here are US manufacturing challenges. And again, Bernard said that it would be nirvana if we could make it in the US. Here are the challenges for apparel in the US. Immigration status ruling. Until the political system gets its act together and we know that we can employ whoever is willing to work, we've had multiple factories going out of business because in California, even though it's a sanctuary state, someone without papers can't work. It's a catch-22, it's stupid, but that's what we live with. But the issue is, until that ruling is there, the hands, the eye-hand coordination that certain, not only ethnicities, but they are grown up with sewing. They know how it works. Even in South Carolina, Walmart tried a pilot plant focused in South Carolina to make product made in USA because they wanted a corner of Walmart to be US product. They couldn't find enough sewers for a 2,000 machine plant. It is a big problem. And on the heels of that is industrial training. Again, going back to training. Not everyone is going to be a computer scientist and a nuclear physicist coming out of high school. Some people want to work with their hands. And as a country, we are so focused on everyone going to college. And if they don't go to college, they're a failure, that we're making a mistake for the industrial community. And then equipment financing went out with TARP. When I had a factory and I bought 10 new machines, the bank owned the machines until I paid them off. I cannot get financing on machinery anymore. It's financing on my business, or I have to take another loan, or my business has to be good enough to afford those 10 machines. But pure equipment financing to retool, to bring our machinery up to speed is not available. Not available. And then we have the high cost of labor. But the high cost of labor is really not as important as some of the other costs. Our apparel in the United States is not just coming from China, it's coming from all these places. And each country has its own specialty, or is trying to have its own specialty. In the past 3 months, I have been a guest of the Canton Fair in Guangzhou. My client is Alibaba in Hangzhou. That's a whole nother story. And then Peru, 2 weeks ago in Peru. So there are countries who are specializing and focusing on what they think they can do to compete with China. 5 years ago, this chart, China was over 50% of our apparel manufacturing. All of these other countries are eating away at that China. And I believe someone asked or made the mention here in the Q&A that they're moving out of China. There is no question that they should. But we are a very lazy industry. We work hard, but we want it the way we've always had it. And I don't see enough American brands and American manufacturers on an airplane researching the opportunities in Colombia, in Peru, in India. That's kind of iffy. But there are many opportunities for specific product. I mean, Costa Rica makes great bras and swimwear. That's their specialty. So I think that that is an avenue for some products to explore. And then we have this sustainability and consumers. And I don't mean to put a negative bent on this. It's very important. It's very important to our future, and it's certainly very important to the Generation Z kids, the under 18s. That's what they're taught in school. That's very important. They're picking up papers. They will care more than the generations before them. But neither consumers nor developers are willing to compromise product. And meaningful change will come when results can be measured. How do you measure whether to retool your factory and reuse your equipment? The measure is the Higgs index. If any of you don't know about it, you are going to have to know about it sooner or later. It's a very, very big index for sustainability. Right now, the Higgs index in apparel, we don't get past 22%. We are everybody's worst enemy in terms of what's on the landfills. It's not true. Cosmetics is worse than us. But apparel is the brainchild of the Higgs index as being the thing to fix. I'm not going to go through it here because we don't have time. Just know that you're going to be thrust upon the Higgs index. And where do you fit for your facility, your brand, and your product? This is the growth of off-price in apparel and footwear. And this is the growth of the doors of retailers. 66% of Saks is Saks off Fifth. 57% of all of Nordstrom's is Nordstrom Rack. And now you have Macy's Backstage. I think they have 12 rolling out within the next 2 months, all over the country. These are outlets. Now, when we had, with CIT, CFA and CIT, did a consumer questionnaire. And the question, what is the biggest opportunity for fashion companies? 46% said multi-channel distribution. No one said export. No one. Zero export. Why is that? There is a lack of export opportunity. Let's be real. These are the numbers. These are the numbers, and I have the number for 2018, but they really don't come out until June of this year. That's how it works. But those numbers haven't changed, and they haven't moved a microsecond from 2014 when they were counted. Exports of apparel are not accepted in Brazil, Korea, China, India, EU, Argentina, and UA. Made in USA apparel cannot be sent to Mexico without a 38 to 42%, they call it non-tariff excise tax. And you don't even know, the buyer in Mexico doesn't know how much that made in USA product will be on the floor until some bureaucrat stamps the excise tax as it leaves his facility. So we don't have an opportunity for export. We better get it right for our country. So now we talk to entertainment, okay? Who and what influences the consumer? The power of celebrity. Not the runway scenes. The runway's fine, but we don't know what's on the Dior runway last week, but we know what Kim Kardashian wore, okay? That's what the power of celebrity is. According to the Hollywood Reporter's survey, social media promotion is 77% of a marketing strategy. That's not new. This is 1980. You want to know what comes between me and my Calvins? Nothing. That was Brooke Shields. She was 15, and this had to come down. It was in Times Square, and it was called Indecent. It had to come down. Okay? We've come a long way. So star power licensing has made Gwen Stefani the richest person in front of the camera. For 22 years, she has been the leading licensee. Puff Daddy, Sean John, I don't know what his name is today, but he doesn't have to sing anymore. He's the #1 menswear brand. And he doesn't own anything, licensees. Now you're coming into a new world, celebrity owned. The Kardashians own whatever they make. They're not licensees. And here's the new one. And I just added this yesterday because this was in the paper on Monday. Fenty Maison by Louis Vuitton. And the development could change the future of Hollywood deal-making in the fashion space. They don't want licenses anymore. They want a piece of the action. And what we do have, Stacey Jones, CEO of Hollywood Branded, we have 10 agencies in Los Angeles that will put your brand together with the appropriate celebrity. Whether they have talent or not is irrelevant, but it's celebrity. And I say that because you have here influencer licensing. A 25-year-old influencer who has a deal with Guess, Puma, K-Swiss, Evian, Chanel, and Champion for as long as this lasts. I predict it won't make it through the year, but that doesn't matter. This is influencer licensing, and every day, if you read the trades, you're going to be seeing another influencer with 20 million followers with their own brand and their own line. Prediction, 5 years, maybe. Because the government steps in again. If something gets too noisy, there's a law. The FTC, at the middle to the end of last year, if you are paid for a comment, if you are given the thing free, whether it's a trip or apparel or just a gift, it better say this is a sponsored post. That's the law. They've already sued Naomi Campbell. They have gotten 3 or 4 other major, these two influencers. If it doesn't say this is a sponsored post, it is against federal law. That's new. This is another, influencers now using ads as posts. Probably by the end of this year, every influencer that you, your children, your friends are listening to has been paid. One way or another, they have been paid. The other new law, and it's not a law, this is a civil lawsuit that's coming up everywhere. Our lawyers are besieged with these issues. Our firms are besieged with these issues, and online is besieged with this issue. If you see your garment on a celebrity, and it's in the trades or it's just a paparazzi picture, and you take it and you put it online, see, Cindy Crawford is wearing it, see, Gigi Hadid is wearing it, you have violated their right of publicity. Not only that, the picture is owned by the photographer, and he'll come at you. And these are civil lawsuits that are coming from the agents and from the photographers. These are the two new things that are going to affect and are affecting social media. So then we go to experience, and all of that is to that circle that we talked to. What does the consumer see? We know this. The website tells it, blogs, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, all of that. All of these platforms are experiences that the consumer is seeing, whatever the sex, whatever the age. But without support, in-store support, you cannot maintain brand recognition. Social media is not enough. And just maintaining brand recognition is about $200,000 a year if you include labor. So then you come to, what are we saying on the internet? What is luxury? A $40 toothbrush? Luden's cough drops for $9? Yes, that's Supreme. Supreme, financed by Vuitton, Louis Vuitton. I think BlackRock made the deal. $1,250 for a sneaker. I just came from China, and in China, every knockoff is Supreme, but S-U-P-R-E-E-M. They can't even spell it right, okay? But what is luxury? In general, what is luxury? Here are black tights, ladies and gentlemen. I don't care what they're made of, they're still black tights for running around. From $12 to $168 on the internet at the same time. Price is not the issue. The democracy of consumption is the issue. According to the Footwear Association, this is the in shoe right now, the decorated slipper. My office put this together in 2 hours. It was wonderful. Everything from Union Bay for Amazon from $12 to Gucci for $1,200. Same day, same time, just a little research. Consumers are buying what they choose to buy, what their experience is, what makes them happy. So when you track track megatrends going forward. Let's not talk about millennials. Let's not talk about a customer that's supposed to be of an age. We know what data is for. I have to move on. Data analytics now is segmentation marketing. Segmentation marketing. These three ladies, for example, they're all making $75,000, married suburban college grads in a career job. They all participate in 401k, they have a mortgage, 4 credit cards, and a Lexus. But one wants information, one wants to know the benefits before she'll buy, and maybe its price, and the other one wants a logo. It's emotional. Same demographic. And I must give you, Howard Stern and Rush Limbaugh graduated from Yale, the same class. They make the same amount of money. They're in the same business. You would no more market to them both with the same product than you would try and sell me torn jeans. Okay. So segmentation marketing is where we are right now. Let's not do a monolithic. And this is the problem with old brands like Ralph Lauren, old brands like Nautica. It's not enough. If product development is still in the equation, let us really realize the difference. This graph used to be, you got to the peak from the groovy kid who wore one blue sock and one red sock to school, until it hit the fashionista, or the fashionable, which was his mother, and then went down to out the door after Walmart. That used to take 4 years. Until it hit the fashionable, it took 2 years. It's now 10 weeks, ladies and gentlemen. Whatever you're doing now is over in 10 weeks. Okay? You have a year before it gets to be Crocs and cargo pants. And I don't mean, I know you guys will not let go of those cargo pants, but they are awful, really. Okay. But that's the difference. 10 weeks for something to be hot and not. So, predictions. For the coming years, we'll see more specialty retailing. Lots of market opportunity. Lululemon wasn't around 10 years ago. I mean, lots of market opportunity for a niche to take hold. Robert Graham's kind of men's shirts were not around 10 years ago. Knockoffs, fast and furious, and they're legal. And clicks to bricks. Reaction to the negative profitability resulting from free returns. Footwear is 54% return. People buy 2 sizes to see what fits. If neither one fits, they send them both back, okay? But red carpet knockoffs are the designers, the cost of doing business. And then when you're having a manicure, or you guys are, I don't know when you read these, but somebody reads them. And it's all over. It's amazing. In accessories, in jewelry, in everything that you can imagine. Whatever is hot is immediately done. You've got 30 days before it's going to be shown somewhere. And clicks to bricks, once only digital, now all of these have pop-ups. And these pop-ups are growing. The pop-up of Amazon in the Marina del Rey in LA now is 3,000 square feet. Started with a little, now they're branching out. If a pop-up is successful, it becomes a retailer. So the roadmap to the future is really fashion technology, to bring it all the way back to what Bernard was talking about. And when we talk about the next range, we're already there. Rothy's, terrific shoe company up in San Francisco. They're doing 3D knitting manufacturing in quick-dry technology. It's wonderful to see. And the fabric is 100% recycled polyester with water bottles. So they're touching all the bases. Robotics. Nike backed Grab It, and they are doing robotic sneakers. Now, all of this is testing. This is all in beta testing. But fashion technology is definitely here to stay. And AI. You all know Stitch Fix, but the algorithms that make up what you sell and what you make, you have to be paying attention. I see so many facilities where there is someone who understands data analytics, but they're not part of management. And management is ignoring the realities of what's going on. And I see some big brands happening. So let's watch for conversations, and hopefully next year I'll be back, and we'll talk about blockchain, its positives and negatives, and there are many negatives. Micro-branding, we're buying stuff from companies you've never heard of. 5G, desktop to mobile, and mobile wallets, as we said, no cash. But technology's the driver. And that's for sure. We're not just a cottage industry anymore. So a little bit of a commercial. We've been here for 24 years. This is the kind of stuff we do for all of you, for our members, and we look forward to seeing more of you in the future. Thank you.